I will convene the Rules Committee of the Superior Court to order for its November 15th, 2021 meeting. And if Attorney Del Campo, could you just read the roll to see which members are here? I do know Judge Trulia contacted me and told me he had court business that was going to preclude his attendance.
Okay. So, Your Honor, yes, Judge Avery Whetstone, Judge Bellis,
Here.
Judge Cobb,
Here.
Judge Farley,
Here.
Judge Hernandez, Judge Nguyen O'Dowd,
Here.
Judge Prats,
Here.
and Judge Trulia will not be here. Okay.
Okay,
That's it.
we do have a quorum. Okay.
Yes.
The first item on our agenda is the approval of the minutes from the September 13th, 2021 meeting of the Rules Committee. Is there a motion for approval?
So moved, Judge Bellis.
It's been moved by Judge Bellis. Is there a second?
Second, Judge Nguyen.
Are there any changes or amendments to the minutes? If not, all in favor say aye.
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 Judge Farley abstains.
Any opposition? With Judge Farley's abstention, that passes. Next, we are going to take an item out of order because we are joined in this meeting by the Chief Justice, who would like to talk to us about item 2021-015. It's the Chief Justice's proposed new rule eliminating peremptory challenges based on race or ethnicity as recommended by the Jury Selection Task Force. Before I turn it over to you, Chief, let me just mention to members of the committee, as you probably are aware, we have gotten several late submissions to us, as I think we received at least 2 today that are going to require additional review by the committee. And I suspect at the end of this discussion, I'm going to recommend that we ask the Jury Selection Task Force to respond to the various comments that we have received. So there will be another round of discussion on this item. But with that as a backdrop, I will turn it over to the Chief Justice.
Thank you very much, Senior Associate Justice McDonald. I'm sorry about the sirens outside, but I hope you can hear me. This endeavor is one of the most important things we will ever do as judiciary. I've been talking like all over the country, both virtually and physically, about procedural justice. And I believe that what we're doing here, or what I'm proposing to do, will be transformative. I have my own experiences with dealing with selecting juries as an attorney and as a judge. And I can tell you that experience has taught me something that's very important. And that is my mere presence in the courtroom triggered some people to actually keep people off of juries because I happen to be a Black attorney. There were trials that I had where people would ask me to recuse myself because I was a Black judge and the trial involved race. The reason why I'm saying that is because this issue of procedural fairness is extremely important, especially in these times. We've been going through a lot of social unrest in the last 2 years. And part of it is because people have lost trust in our institutional systems, including our judiciary. I recently had a meeting with Chief Justice Gonzalez in Washington, Chief Justice Brutinel in Arizona, and it was for the judiciary in New Jersey, Chief Justice Rabner. You may know that Arizona has abolished preemptories entirely. In Washington, they did something close to what I'm asking for us to do here. This is so important that I would like additional time to.
Excuse me, Chief. If you are not addressing the committee, could you make sure that you are on mute, please? Please continue, Chief.
Thank you. The letters that came in late, the comments that came in late, and I believe one was earlier, I think I need, and I'm pretty sure that the Jury Selection Task Force needs time to respond to that. And I ask you for that time because what we are doing here is so critical. You may disagree with what I'm trying to do here. You may agree with what I'm trying to do here. But I think we all need to be as informed as we possibly can in order to make the right decisions for our judiciary. I honestly believe that our future depends on this. So with that, I would like to ask you for your consideration in giving us a little time to address these extremely important issues. As I said earlier, this is transformative to our judiciary, and the nation is watching.
Thank you, Chief. Let me just make sure that Attorney Del Campo, make sure I've got this right. We so far have received comments from Judge Abrams, comments from Attorney Harry Weller and Attorney Zarella, comments from Attorney Joette Katz, comments from the Connecticut Trial Lawyers Association, the Connecticut Defense Lawyers Association, and I saw something came through just shortly ago, comments from Judge Gold. Are there any other comments that we have?
No, that's it today, Your Honor.
Okay. Unless there is a contrary view from any member of the committee, I would recommend that we ask Attorney Del Campo to make sure that a copy of all of those comments that I've just articulated are transmitted to the Jury Selection Task Force, and asking them, if possible, to respond to us in a timely manner that would allow us to take this up at our December meeting. If we have to give them a little extra time until January, I suspect we could accommodate it, but I would try to prefer to keep this on a fast track for our consideration, given the importance of the subject. Is there any opposition to that proposal? Hearing none, we will proceed that way. And I appreciate everybody taking this matter out of order. I know the Chief has another meeting he needs to get to, which is why we had to move this to the front of the agenda. So thank you very much, Chief Justice.
Mr. Chair, if through you, if
Sure.
Mr. Del Campo could also send me copies, I'd appreciate it.
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. You like how I did legislative maneuver?
Well done. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay. So going back to the first item on after the minutes, 2019-004, proposal from Natasha Pierre, the State Victim Advocate. Attorney Del Campo, could you bring us back up to speed on where we are in this?
Yes, this was last on your agenda, March 15th, 2021. At that time, Judge Gold, I believe, addressed the committee and was to work out some of the niceties through operational concerns with Attorney Pierre. And I think that they have been meeting over these months. And Judge Gold is at this meeting, in attendance at the meeting, and wishes to update us.
I appreciate that. And Judge Gold, if you could turn on your camera and on your microphone.
Yes, sir. Good afternoon, everybody. Is Ms. Pierre on the meeting as well?
We have a couple of phone numbers. I don't know if
could through you, could I perhaps inquire?
Attorney Pierre, are you on the meeting? I can't see the entire list of attendees. I'm going to take the silence as a no unless she pipes up at some point. So Judge Gold, I think it'll fall to you to try to present a balanced view of where we are.
Well, I was hoping it wasn't going to, because I'm not confident that I can give a balanced view. We have met, as Mr. Del Campo said, at least twice, if not 3 times, since this was last on your agenda. But I can't honestly say that we've come to any definitive understanding as to how this particular proposal should proceed. There are certainly changes that are being made to policies, but I can't say for certain that they're fully acceptable to Ms. Pierre or address her concerns. So I just hesitant to say where we are if I'm not confident that I'm adequately representing her views. And she has been very patient as we've tried to work through it. But I just don't know if I'm comfortable saying where she feels those discussions have gotten us.
Okay, I don't, I apologize. I should have checked earlier before the meeting started. Attorney Del Campo, do we know if Attorney Pierre had been notified about the meeting or that the item was going to be on the agenda or no?
Yes, Your Honor, she is on the invite list. I do see her name on the member, the people invited. I didn't get a response from her for this.
And I appreciate the position Judge Gold is in. So if there's no objection, we will push this item over to next month. And we'll make an extra effort to make sure that both if Judge Gold can join us again and Attorney Pierre will revisit this item at that time. Thank you very much, Judge Gold.
Thank you, sir.
Next is item 2021-008, proposal from Attorney Zarella to amend section 23-1 to replace existing language relating to arbitration proceedings. And I do know that we just got another comment from the Connecticut Bar Association making an additional recommendation, but I'll let Attorney Del Campo bring us up to speed.
Yes, Your Honor. Attorney Zarella submitted this. It was on the agenda for September, or last on the agenda for September. It was referred to Judge Abrams, the Connecticut Bar Association, and other associations. We did receive, or you did receive comments from Judge Abrams on the proposal. He agrees with it. You did receive comments from the Bar Association, as you mentioned. It does have a change from the. It adds another chapter of the general statutes to this proposal, and that's I sent you those comments earlier today, and that's, I don't know, Attorney Zarella was invited. I'm not certain if he's attending.
I do know that the recommendation from the CBA was to add the chapter in for international arbitrations.
Yes.
I didn't see a problem with that, but are members of the committee comfortable moving forward with this item at this time? Are there any comments, or should we proceed to a vote? All right. With the changes recommended by the CBA to add in chapter 825 or something like that, is there a motion to approve this item?
So moved, Judge Bellis.
It's been moved by Judge Bellis. Is there a second?
Second, Avery Whetstone.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Seeing no discussion, hearing none, all in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, say no. That passes unanimously. The next item on our agenda is 2021-011, proposal from Judge Conway to amend sections 27-1A and 27-4A. Attorney Del Campo?
Yes, this was originally proposed by Judge Conway. Judge Westbrook took it up when she became the chief administrative judge for juvenile. It was last on the agenda for September 13th. At that time, it was asked that it be sent back to the JJPOC, and it was. And Judge Westbrook is here, I believe, to address the issue.
I think I saw her earlier. There
I
she
am.
is.
I'm actually on another hearing as well, but I can address this now if you all are ready. If you give me a moment just to let them know that I need to take a recess.
Yes, please.
All right.
The joys of multitasking.
I apologize. Yeah, we have the state of Massachusetts on, and I didn't want to reschedule that one. So yes, thank you. Thank you for the opportunity to address you. I'm returning, if you recall, in September, at your September meeting. First of all, I'm Judge Dawn Westbrook, speaking as the Chief Administrative Judge of Juvenile Matters. I'm adopting a previous submission made by our former Chief Administrative Judge, Bernadette Conway. I appeared at the September meeting in support of the proposed rule change and wanted to seek input from interested parties before considering the matter. I believe you have written support now from the Juvenile Justice Policy and Oversight Committee, which is the committee with representation from leadership from all of the interested parties. Before your consideration is a proposal to amend sections 27(1)A and 27-4A of the practice book to require that certain delinquency cases be considered for non-judicial handling. The change would require that delinquency cases that are handled non-judicially be based on risk needs assessment rather than the charges against the juvenile. And if you would like, I could elaborate further, but in general, that's the proposal.
And just as a prefatory matter, this is, you've socialized this to all of the stakeholders, and have you heard any opposition to this proposal?
It's my understanding that the state's attorneys may have concerns because some of the cases could include juveniles with motor vehicle charges, but that's remedied by the fact that if the case goes non-judicially, the juveniles would end up in the same place, which is for the suspended motor vehicle program that's been created. They would simply be referred to that program if they are eligible for the program. Otherwise, no, there has been support. This came out of some of the JJPOC membership, this whole proposal.
Thank you. Any other questions from members of the committee for Judge Westbrook? I'm going to take silence as acquiescence. With that, is there any impediment from your perspective, Judge Westbrook, that would preclude us from voting on this at this point?
There's no impediment.
Hearing that helpful information, is there a motion to approve?
So moved, Judge Bellis.
Is there a second?
Second, Judge Prats.
Been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion?
Your Honor, Joe Del Campo, just to make it clear, the proposal that you're voting on is the item B. There was a revised proposal after it came in. It's just so we're clear, because there's two in your package. One is the original, which is the A, and the B is the one that I believe you're voting on, because that's the fuller proposal.
That was my understanding. It's ID number 2021-011B.
Yes, thank you.
Anything further? If not, all in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed, say no. That passes unanimously. Thank you very much, Judge Westbrook, for your time.
Thank you. Thank
You
you.
don't have anything else on, do you? I think she's gone. Okay. Next is item 2021-014, proposal from Judge Noble to revise the standard premises liability interrogatories. Attorney Del Campo.
Yes, Your Honor. This was on, last on the agenda, or first on the agenda, September 13th. At that time, you had, the committee had asked me to send it out to solicit comments from the CBA, the CTLA, CDLA, and Judge Abrams. You received back comments from Judge Abrams, the CTLA, and the CDLA. The CTLA's comments came back with an amendment, as did the CDLA, I believe. It's slightly different than Judge Noble's proposal, but that's the state of it at this point.
I would, rather than us trying to do this in real time, I would recommend that we send those two proposed amendments back to Judge Noble and to Judge Abrams and ask for their final input on those two proposals. Is there any objection to that? Okay, why don't we do that, Attorney Del Campo?
Okay, I will, Your Honor.
We've already addressed item 2021-015. So the next item is 2021-019, proposal to revise practice book section 35A1B to remove the written requirement for NOLO, please. Attorney Del Campo.
That came in, this is the first time being considered. This was submitted by Judge Westbrook, actually, and it removes the written and signing requirements for the plea of NOLO contender in 35A-1. It now requires that it be written and signed by the respondent, they would like to remove that language.
I would like to consider this. I wish I had caught this. I'd like to talk to Judge Westbrook about this. So if there's no objection, can we put this off as the first time on our agenda? Actually, I would imagine that we should ask for input from stakeholders, including the Chief State's Attorney's Office and the Public Defender's Office, Chief Public Defender's Office. I don't know if there are any other suggested stakeholders.
Maybe the CCDLA, Criminal Defense Lawyers Association.
That sounds appropriate. Appreciate that. Saving me from myself, I appreciate that, Judge Fellas. Any other stakeholders that members think we should seek input from? All right, why don't we do that? And in the interim, I will try to reach out to Judge Westbrook and we'll put this on our agenda for next month.
Okay. Okay, we'll do.
Next is item 2021-020 to add a reference in section 3-9 to section 35A20A. And this is the first time on our agenda, Attorney Del Campo.
Yes, this one and the next two, actually, these three, this package of the last three here are items that come up generally over the summer months after the judges adopt your recommendations. The Office of the Reporter of Judicial Decisions takes the practice book and prepares it for publication, and they review everything. And in their review, they have found a few issues with corollary provisions or provisions that are necessary to implement these. And Lori actually is here as well to actually go through the three of them if you'd like.
Thank you. Attorney Petrozelli has joined us. It's good to see you. It looks like this is people protecting us from ourselves and cleaning mistakes. If you'd like to briefly summarize them, I'd appreciate it.
I'm sure, Justice McDonald. The first proposal, which was by the Reporter of Judicial Decisions, was to add a reference to the new rule 35A20A to section 3-9F. The reason being that the new rule 35A20A had sections of 35A20 transferred to it. So those provisions are now properly referenced if we can add 35A20A to subsection F of 3-9.
And I will ultimately do individual votes, but why don't you keep going and
Okay.
talk us through 21, 22.
Okay. And I just wanted to add that we did ask Judge Westbrook for her opinion on that, and she was in agreement that that was an appropriate correction. So the next one are proposals to amend sections 3-8 and 3-10 of the practice book. Those deal with the new medical negligence standard interrogatories and requests for production. And those changes are so that no objections would be permitted to those standard interrogatories and requests for production, and that's consistent with the way that we handle other standard interrogatories and requests for production. And similarly, I discussed this with Judge Bellis, and she had no objection to these changes.
To be clear, I think you meant sections 13-8 and 13-10, not 3-8.
Yeah, I don't know what I said. I'm going to blame that on progressives.
There you go.
And then finally, there was a proposal to amend sections 43-39 and 43-41. And those, we asked Judge Gold for his opinion on those. And those were simply to make the time calculations in line with the new section 43-40A regarding the calculation of a speedy trial.
Thank you. As I indicated, we'll do individual votes, but before we do that, is there any questions for Attorney Petrozelli? Okay. So the first item is 2021-19. Is there a motion for? I'm sorry. No. 2021-20. Is there a motion for approval?
So moved, Judge Ballas.
Is there a second?
Second, Avery Whetstone.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed, say no. That passes unanimously. Next is item 2021-21. Is there a motion for approval?
So moved, Judge Ballas.
Okay.
Is there a second?
I will second then Judge Prats.
Thank you. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed, say no. That passes unanimously. Next is 2021-22. Is there a motion for approval?
So moved, Judge Ballas. Trying to give somebody else a chance.
You're the designated mover. Is there a second?
Second, Avery Whetstone.
Thank you. Is there any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed, say no. That passes unanimously. Are there any other business items for us to address, Attorney Del Campo?
No, Your Honor.
Justice McDonald, can I just ask, can we go back to 2021-019, it's practice book section 35A-1?
Yes.
With regards to the stakeholders, so I'm looking at it, it's the NOLA pleas that are directed to the neglect petitions and terminations, those are child protection matters, so should that go to the Office of the Attorney General as well as one of the stakeholders?
That sounds right. Your background is coming through and helping us again. That's great. Thank you very much. Anything further, Attorney Del Campo?
No, sir, other than the next meeting, December 13th at 2.
Right. Anything further from members of the committee? If not, is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved, Judge Ballas.
Is there a second?
Second, Avery Whetstone.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Opposed, say no. That passes unanimously, and we are adjourned. Thanks very much, everybody. Have a happy
Thank
Thanksgiving.
you.
You too.